Have you ever noticed how some websites, and even the websites you built, some of them they keep fetching data even after you have changed your search query? Okay, that's basically where state API calls, and it slows down your app. And as a good developer, I know that you wouldn't want to experience such thing. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can stop that by using a simple built-in JavaScript API called the AbortController. But before we go into that, in case you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and comment. That will give me the necessary boost and energy to keep making videos like this. Okay, thank you, and let's get started.
Alright, so to do the data cleanup, we are going to make use of, like I said earlier, we are going to make use of a built-in browser API called our AbortController. Then we'll make use of this controller in our cleanup function. And by the way, just in case you don't know what a cleanup function is, just stay tuned because I'll make a video later on explaining that. Okay. Alright, so to make use of the AbortController, first of all, we need to create one. So I'll create a new variable and controller goes to AbortController. So that's one. Then next, I will come to my fetch function here. After the URL, I will pass in an object as a second argument with the property of signal. Now set it to controller.signal. Now it's really not important to know what exactly is going on with this particular object here. Okay. So with this now we have successfully connected our controller, our AbortController with our fetch function. Then next up is to go to our cleanup function. So a function that can be returned from here. And like I said earlier, just in case you don't know what a cleanup function is, stay tuned because I will make a video explaining that later. So in the cleanup function, we can do something like controller.abort, and that is it. So next up, let's see how this works in practice. Then I will come back to understand what exactly is going on here and do some fixes as well. So let's just refresh to see what's going on. And if you look at it, you notice that there's a small problem here. So let's just ignore that for now. We'll come back to it later. Okay, let's just quickly start from now. Okay. So you see, if you look at the network tab here now, you see that there were so many requests that was made, but all the other ones got cancelled except the last one. So you can see. So basically, when any of these requests get fired up, as the next one is about to start, the previous one will get cancelled, and you can see we ended up not downloading any unnecessary resources again. Okay. So what happened was what for every time a new request is fired up, the previous one will get cancelled. That is what you are seeing here. So unless the last one, which actually what we are interested in, so the last one alone is the one that was not cancelled, but every other request got cancelled. So let's just move back to the code to understand how this works. Okay, so basically what is going on here is that every time there's a keystroke on that input field, okay, the component where this hook is subscribed to will get re-rendered. So basically that's just how things work in React. Whenever there's a state update, because whenever that keystroke happens, there's a state update. Okay, so in React, whenever there's a state update, the component where that state will re-render. So what that means is that every time this component re-render, this cleanup function will run, which simply means that our AbortController will do what? Abort the current request, fetch request, which is exactly what you mean. Okay, so I do again. I said every time there's a keystroke on that input field, the component will do what? Will render. And that means this cleanup function will run again, which in turn means that our AbortController will do what? Abort the current fetch request, which is exactly what we want. Okay, but now the problem with this is that every time a request is cancelled, okay, JavaScript will do what? To seize that as an error. Okay, remember I said every time there's a render, this cleanup function will run, which in turn will call this AbortController. So this AbortController will do what? Cancel the current fetch request. So the problem with this is that when this fetch request gets cancelled, JavaScript will do what? To seize it as an error. So that's why we are getting this error here, this error that we are seeing here. That's why we are getting this error. Signal aborted without a reason. So basically, this fetch request will get cancelled, which will throw an error, which we are now handling it in our cache block by simply setting the state error. So that is the error message we are seeing here on the screen. Okay, so when this fetch function request gets cancelled, it will throw an error, which we are now handling here at the cache block. So I'm simply setting the state with that error message there. That's the message you are seeing right here on the screen. But however, this is not really an error in our application. So we can simply ignore it by saying if error.name is different from abort error, only then do we want to set the error message. Okay, so we are simply ignoring the abort error and setting it. So we only want to set the error when there is any other error apart from the abort error. But to make this fully work, we also need to set the error back to empty string after the recipes have been set. Okay, so that this can work perfectly fine. Okay, now so let's go back to the browser and see how this looks now. Okay, so you can see we now have a result. So that error is gone. Okay, so let's clean up this and check, search for something else. So you can see every other request that was not valid gets cancelled. So like this particular one gets cancelled. So we no longer have all those many HTTP requests going on at the same time. Okay. So I hope with this now, in your own application, next time if you are going to make an HTTP request like this, if you are in a situation whereby there will be many HTTP requests at the same time, do well to use the AbortController to prevent unnecessary API calls that doesn't really generate any meaningful response. It saves a lot, saves you. You can see it makes your application one step to it makes your application to be one step in the performance ratio. Okay. All right. So with that being said, if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and comment and follow as well. And like I said, stay tuned for more videos and more tips like this about React, JavaScript, and programming in general. Thank you, and see you guys next time.